Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Dominate the Top Seller Objections with MAPS coaches Alexis Weigand and Emily Baker. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available within 24 hours on the MAPS Group YouTube channel. You may access the YouTube channel from your Zoom confirmation email, and we will also share the link in the chat momentarily. Currently, everyone's on mute. We do value group participation, so we ask that if you have any questions for your coach, please type them into the chat box below, and they will be addressed throughout the webinar. Following this meeting, if you have any questions about today's call or our coaching programs, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. That is fasttrack@kw.com. And that's all for me, coaches. Take it away.
Thanks, Rodrigo. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Overcoming Seller Objections in Today's Market. My name's Emily Baker. I'm a MAPS Mastery Coach, and I also lead the group program for MAPS, the Mega Listing Agent. I'm out of Springfield, Missouri, and I'm excited to be here to talk with you about what's going on with sellers in this market.
Sweet. Well, guys, I am Alexis Weigand, and I'm out of San Antonio, Texas. I am a rainmaker for a real estate team here in San Antonio. I am the lead listing agent. So alongside Emily, we also wrote together and we facilitate the Mega Listing Agent. So we are all about sellers and scripts and dialogue, and we're just really grateful that you guys chose to log on today and share this time with us. So thank you. We're excited.
Awesome. So Dennis, you started us off perfectly. What I want to know from you all are, what are you hearing? What objections are you hearing when you're lead generating for sellers or you're on listing appointments? What are the top objections that you all are hearing? So Dennis, thanks for kicking us off with, where will I go after selling if I had a nickel, right? What else are you hearing? Will you discount your commission? Yes. How can I sell if the home doesn't appraise? Yep. What taxes will I have to pay? When I keep getting this, doing repairs. I don't want to buy in this market. Ashley, yes, I only want this amount of money. Constance, I want to wait and see what the market's going to do. That's another really big one right now.
Yep.
In this market, I can do for sale by owner. Sure, you can.
I actually love that one.
Me too. I want to sell on my own. My house is a mess. Yep. Waiting for the market to correct. Oh, that's another really good one. Hey, Renee. Yes. Okay, so continue to participate. We want you to get what you came for out of this webinar. So go ahead and type in the chat if you haven't already or you jumped on a little bit late. What are you hearing as you're lead generating for listings? Or you're in front of a seller, right? What are the objections that are consistently coming on? So Alexis, I'd like us to start off with, let's start off with commission cutting. You've got a really, really good one for when they say they only want to, go with a discount broker, or they'll list with you, but only if you cut your commission. Why don't you share that with them?
Yep. All right. So with any objection, we always want to just not validate what they're saying, right? But we want to acknowledge the question, and we want to do it with a positive energy. So I would say your energy and your mindset around this question is really huge. If you've been in a listing appointment before and you're like me and you've gone through everything, and then they say, okay, well, we want you to cut commission. My first energy reaction is maybe one of wanting to roll my eyes. Like, okay, are you serious? After everything I just told you we're going to do. So I think it's really important to start with the right energy and the right attitude around this and say, you know what? I love that you asked that question. And then I actually pull $3 bills out. I have them in my other office, so I apologize, but I'm gonna walk you through exactly what we do. And I haven't had one time yet that I've used this where this didn't work. So I would say I love that you asked that question. Out of curiosity, do you know how agent commissions work? And I would say most of the time they say, I guess, I think, I don't know, not really. I say, okay, great. Well, so I'd love to share that with you. So Really what we're talking about, and guys, I'm going to make some assumptions here. So let's assume for today's sake that we're talking about a 3% listing agent commission. Okay. We're not talking about the buyer agent side. So we're going to say, so here's the deal. And I take out my dollar bill and I say, so whether I own my own brokerage or I'm with a brokerage, every agent has brokerage fees. So 1%, and I show up in this $1, 1% goes to the brokerage. So that's off the table. And I used to own my own brokerage, so I know this. So then the second is marketing. And I went through, our extensive marketing plan. And can you agree that the only way we're going to net you top dollar and find that one buyer, because it just takes one, to pay top dollar, we're going to have this super aggressive marketing plan, right? They go, yep. Say, okay, great. So 1% more or less is put towards marketing. And then we have the third dollar bill and we say, okay, so this third dollar bill, and I have the word agent written on it. This is actually to us as agents. And this is what we use to run the business and also to take home to our family. So out of curiosity, between the $2 bills, right, the marketing and the agent, which one do you think, and this is usually they're asking us to cut because they have another agent who's asked them to cut commissions, right? So I would go, which one do you think this other agent is going to pull from? Are they going to not spend as much money on the marketing, or are they going to actually take home less to run the business and take home less to their family? And every time they're like, yeah, marketing. And then that's where I say, yeah. And honestly, in today's market, guys, you could go put a for sale by owner sign in your front yard. You're not looking for just an agent to go put a sign in the yard, put it in MLS, sit back and pray that an agent brings you an offer. You're looking for the agent that's going to have the aggressive marketing plan that's going to make you top dollar. And that's the plan we just went over. All right. So are you ready to do the right thing and get the paperwork signed so we can go to work for you today? So that's the $3 bills, right? It's 1, 2, 3. It's brokerage. And I just write this in all caps on $3 bills and I have it in my wallet. And then it's marketing, and then it's agent.
I love that. And I love that you also killed two birds with one stone by handling the for sale by owner objection. Did you guys hear that? Yeah, you can go put a for sale by owner sign in your yard and sell it, right? Because that's the reality. And that's not what you're looking to do. You're ultimately looking to make the most amount of money in the market that we're in. Can we agree?
I see in the chat that Dennis said he tears the dollar bill for dramatic effect. Dennis, I love that. I've never done that. You have, you've given me an idea. I'm going to try and do that on my next one.
Okay. Right. So I'm going to go through the market because I have heard this a lot lately of, is it really should I sell and buy in this market? Or I'm not sure that I can find what I'm looking for, or is it the right time to sell? Are you guys hearing that?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'm hearing that a lot. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys some market stats. Okay. And I want you guys get your pens and paper out. This is really, really important for you to write these numbers down because as Gary says, we want to be the local economist of choice, right? And in order to do that, we've got to know our numbers. So here's what we want to share. So the Fed's released that this year, interest rates are going to raise 5 more times. Okay. They are going to hit, who knows? Type in the chat. Do you know what they're going to hit this year? Anyone? Take a guess. Yes, 6% is projected for this year. That's 2% more. Let's just think about this. If my house payment is $2,000 a month, right? That's what I can afford. And interest rates go from 4 to 6%. That's a $400 per month difference, increase. That's a lot, you guys, right? And for some of you who are in really high average sales price markets, it's a lot of money. Okay. Do they understand the interest rate and what it's going to do to their affordability? Now, here's the thing. Okay. We've had in the last 2 years a 40% appreciation across the nation of home values, right? We've all felt it, right? These are fun calls to make. Your home value has appreciated. Are you thinking about selling? Yes, there are reputable numbers. You can find all of these stats on NAR, guys. These are all NAR stats. So National Association of Realtors, you can find the information. So here is what has happened. We have had a 40% appreciation rate, okay? Over the next 2 years, we are looking at a 2% appreciation rate this year projected and a 6% appreciate this year projected, because ultimately, what's low? What can we not find? Inventory. I see you guys mouthing it. Yes, inventory. Inventory is low. Yet inventory being low, it's simple economics, right? Supply and demand. If inventory is low, the supply is low, the demand is high. And yet, how do we catch up the inventory? How do we increase the supply? That's why the feds are increasing the interest rates, right? To slow the demand down such that the market goes to some sort of stabilization, if you will. Okay. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay, good. I just want to make sure you guys are following. So when you hear people that say, oh, I'm waiting for the market to crash. Oh, I'm waiting for it to go down. Guys, the seller's market is not going to go down. We're going to remain strong, which is really exciting for us listing agents or those of us who are focused on taking more listings, because there's still going to be great conversations. What's not going to be great is the affordability for the buyers. So when you are talking to a seller and they say, gosh, well, if I sell high, I don't want to buy high. Respectfully, you're buying the payment. Okay. You're capitalizing on the market. We're not going to have a 40% appreciation over the next 2 years, right? Remember, 2% this year is projected, 6% in 2023 is projected. So we're going to stay, standard numbers of appreciation, right? Home sales are going to go down because interest rates are going to go up, which is going to impact the amount of buyers who can actually buy in this market. So if you're ultimately, what are sellers looking to do? Their one goal is to make the most amount of money. Is that fair? How many times have we heard that on listing appointments? I'm only going to sell at this rate, right? My one goal is to make the most amount of money. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, my goal for you is for you to make the best financial decision for your family. And what that means is capitalizing now on the high appreciation and buying the payment low for your next place, such that you can take the equity from this property, put it into your next home, and have a lesser payment so you guys can go live your life. You can have more experiences. You can invest more. You can do more. 6 months from now, that may not be the case.
I think, Emily, too, when we were talking to Gary Keller and his mastermind, so it's important too to remind them that, guys, we are in uncharted territory. We are typically in a seller's market or a buyer's market. Uniquely, though, we've been in both.
Yep.
And so we were at a listing appointment yesterday where we really slowed down to explain this because they didn't understand that concept. And I said, okay, we're in a seller's market because the inventory is low. Okay. Demand is high, supply is low. That's what defines a seller's market. Now, ironically, it's still been a phenomenal time to buy. Why is that? Why is it a great time to buy if we're in a seller's market? And it was just explaining to her, that's because, like Emily said, you're buying a payment. It's the cost of borrowing money is low. Okay, so if that's what happened after COVID, right? The interest rates were kept extremely low, so it was a win-win. Now we're going to move back into more of a balanced market where, because people aren't going to be as excited to, if they refinanced at 2.5% or 2% last year, that's going to lessen the excitement of them wanting to go lock in at 6%. That's a huge cost difference. And I saw that Dennis put it in the chat channel as well. For every 1 point that your mortgage rate is raised, it's going to cost the buyer 10% more on their monthly payment. So I did that math with her yesterday and I said, all right, let's quickly do your mortgage payment. And if you guys wait to list your house and to buy, let's see what it's going to cost you. And it was about $150,000 because you do times 12. Okay. And then you say, okay, how long do you anticipate being in the house? Because they're going to get probably a 30-year note. But even if you said, all right, even if you only expect to be in the house for 15 years, go times 15. And for most of you in your markets, that's going to be a 6-figure number. That's going to be them spending over $100,000 more. So then you go up 2 points and now you're giving them the math that goes and builds urgency for them to sign now versus waiting.
I love what Joseph said, find their motivation. If they have to move, they will. And when we go back to shift, right, with the market's going to shift, the message of the moment, the message of the market is what sometimes drives the urgency and truly reveals what the actual motivation is, right? When we're able to have numbers and facts, a lot of times the facts reveal to the client that we're the expert, we're knowledgeable, we know what's happening, and they feel like they can trust us in really going deep with us on what their motivation is. A lot of times, especially in this market, you guys, we haven't gone as deep in motivation as we probably should have in some case scenarios or some appointments, at least I'm seeing that. And that's because we're having commission conversations or we're having, what is my home value, right? And so when we talk to them about what's happening in the market and why they should make a move now and why they should capitalize now, a lot of times then you're going to gain buy-in and trust with them with having this insight and information that they didn't know. So how many people do you think actually know that interest rates are going to go to 6% that are not in real estate or the financial world, right? Yeah. You guys know
even when they do know that, let's say that they are educated and you ask them, do you have clarity on how much that's going to cost you? Most people don't know how to do that math. They don't equate the 1 point to 10% on top of their mortgage. So slowing down to do that math and showing, because that's a really big number, showing them that $150,000 is going to cost you a lot more than even if the market goes up in appreciation 5%, and that's what you gain. You're still costing yourself more because you're in a race against time with how quickly the Fed's going to raise the interest rate. Emily, let's do an actual role play or roll through, unless you guys have any questions around message of the market.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about, I can't find where I'm looking, or I can't find what I'm looking for, because that was another really popular one in the chat. And again, just talking about inventory, that's pretty common. Are you guys hearing that? Well, if I sell, where would I go? Or I'm not finding what I'm looking for. Okay, yeah, I see head shaking. Okay, cool. So the first question that I like to ask when someone says, I like to come from curiosity, I like to say, well, let me ask you, have you by chance seen properties online? Like when you're looking on Zillow or realtor.com or our website, are you seeing properties online that may have fit the bill or may have worked, and yet they just show that they're already under contract or they're unavailable or they're off market? And most of the time, what do you think that they say? Okay, most of the time they say yes. So I see a lot of blank stares. Most of the time, if you ask this question, you guys, they will say yes, okay? Because the issue is the competitiveness of the market, right? And so what I like to follow up with after they say yeah, is I say, yeah, see, what we're finding is that it's not actually an inventory issue. Is supply low? Yes. What the actual issue is, though, is when the supply comes on the market, the position to purchase is the problem. Meaning you have to sell your home first, which would make it contingent, which is tying your hands in the competitiveness of the market. Is that fair? And then they say, yeah, that is fair. Yeah. So I found 4 options that have worked really, really, really well for sellers like yourself. And what I'd like to do is go through each of these options with you and see which one would work for you such that you have the power to purchase in this market, such that when the property does come on, we find it. The good news is for you, we've never left anyone homeless. Promise you're not going to be the first one. I will find you what you're looking for, okay? Okay. Option number 1. In the event that you sold and we did not have a property to write an offer on, are there any family members, friends, temporary housing options for short term that you would have access to staying for a short term? And then they're going to say yes or no. And I have these 4 options. I write them down and I star them or I cross them out if they say no. Second, would you be open to us finding you a temporary rental, such as an Airbnb or a short-term rental, worst case scenario? Third, have you considered creative financing, such as Keller offers or a bridge loan? Are you familiar with how you can pay cash, or do we really know that we have to sell to buy? Third. Fourth, have you heard of a leaseback option? We can negotiate a leaseback for you where you can actually stay in your property post-possession and negotiate a rental rate for a short period of time from the buyer, which in the seller's market is really common because who do you think has the power in this market? And they say, well, we would. Yeah, you're exactly right. Sellers do. For every 1 seller, we have 19 buyers or whatever it is for your market. So buyers are willing to be flexible in order to secure the property. Then I repeat back to them those options that they said would work. Great. So Alexis, it sounds like leaseback would be your most favorable, right? Yes. Great. And then a short-term rental you would be open to, worst case scenario as well, right? Yes. Great. So here's the thing. Traditional real estate is still happening. So it's not to say that you can't buy and sell at the same time and have the same closing date. That's still happening, I promise, okay? These are just our backup options such that if we didn't find anything, you would have security and peace of mind. Guys, sellers look for 3 things. Write this down: price, certainty, and convenience. Price, certainty, and convenience. So now that we have our backup options in play, I'm making a note of this. Let's go ahead and decide what Thursday would be the best day for you all to hit the market. Is this helpful for you guys? Are you learning lots?
Emily, we had someone in the chat ask, can you repeat number 1?
Yes. Do you by chance have a friend or family member or somebody that you can short-term stay with?
Awesome. Yep. So it's short-term or short-term rental, right? Airbnb or creative financing with our lender or lease back. And I will tell you, in my market, at least, I would say 95% of the time, we are negotiating a lease back or a rent back up front for several reasons, right? To allow them to close and fund, money's in the bank before they have everything to be moved over. But in this situation, that's usually the one that our sellers are choosing. Is it's either, wow, I didn't realize that was an option, or absolutely, yes, we're going to take you up on that. All right, guys, It is 1:55. We only have 5 minutes left with you all. So I want to go over something really exciting. As you guys know, Emily is a full-time MAPS coach. She coaches the top 100, a couple of the top 100 teams in Gary's. And we are, gosh, what launch is this for us? Is this 4? Yep, this is our 4th launch for the Mega Listing Agent. So if you got anything that you can put into motion and found helpful today, that's what we were hoping for. We are launching on January 5th, which is a Wednesday from 1:30 to 2:30 Central Standard Time. This is a 9-week course. It's 2 payments of $250, and you can sign up on mapscoaching.com or the megalistingagent.com. So if you haven't heard of the Mega Listing Agent, this is where we go from A to Z on sellers. What do you say? When do you say it? How do you say it? Whether you're doing, whether you have never done a listing and you want some clarity and direction, or we've got agents that have taken our past courses that they're consistently closing over 100 listings a year. So we've really got, it's a course written for you to take several times over. Gary always says, you take the course for the first time, it's like you're in first grade, second time, second. And we're always keeping it relevant to the market and updating it. Emily, you want to go over a couple more details on what we offer in the course?
Yeah. So it's not for KW agents only. So this is open for all brokerages, first off, and we start sequential, guys. So we can start right at prospecting. What are the top prospecting and marketing strategies that we focus on such that we take the unfair share that a shift is going to bring, which we know that we lead with listings. If you're looking to increase your listing taken market share, this is absolutely the best return on investment that you can do for you and your business is take this, plug in, show up, and take one thing every week. Then we go out after follow-up. So the fortunes in the follow-up. So what are the best follow-up strategies to secure the listing? We go through the pre-qualification to the pre-listing process to the consultation deep dive. How do you prep for a consult? How do you become the local market expert of choice? Like what numbers matter? What data matters? What doesn't matter? And then we go into what are the objections? So we gave you some objection handlers. This was just like a snippet into the full objection handlers that we give you. So scripts, systems, and strategies are really what we provide you to build a mega listing business, which again, with the market and where the projection of where we're going, listings are going to be the most competitive in our market. Not that they're not always the most competitive, it's just going to get a lot more competitive as home sale numbers go down.
All right. Well, we are super grateful for you guys. Thank you for investing this time in yourselves and letting us lead you today. Again, we would love to see your smiling faces. We are doing Q&A in our Mega Listing Agent, so it does give you an opportunity to connect directly with us. We have a Facebook group that you can also join the community. So January 5th, I know launch date on here says April 6th, but our next launch is January 5th, Wednesday, 1:30 to 2:30. We hope
Alexis,
yes.
Alexis, it's March. Our
Just
launch.
kidding. I'm looking at my promo.
our guys,
April 6th. Yes.
We will launch again in January. That will probably
Oh my gosh.
11. And yet we are launching April 6th, you all. So April 6th, 1:30 Central Standard, 9 weeks. And that is next Wednesday at 1:30. So register. We can't wait to see you all there. And again, thanks so much for plugging in and investing in yourself with us. We're really grateful. So we'll see you guys next week at our launch.
Bye, guys.
Bye.